beings, right?
Yeah, because if in my past life I was a cough, or in the life before that I was a bug, like I would have had to access the afterlife to become someone else.
Yeah.
Or something else, rather.
But that's kind of nice. Every time you sneeze, it becomes another being.
Yeah. Wait, so you think the afterlife is just full of humans? And not like, elephants or giraffes?
No, so I think we just dissolve into an energy.
You dissolve into energy?
Yeah.
But if you think that so many people have died and dissolved into energy, where does that energy... Has it all dissipated over the world? Where has the energy gone?
Yeah.
Because surely at this point in the world there should be more energy than there was, last week.
Yeah. I think... That's true. Maybe we just... there is this, the idea of entropy that we always descend towards this notion of chaos, and maybe that sort of, increase in, kind of energy is just, a gravity towards chaos.
What we need is that girl that's dead, and we need to ask her...
How she died.
And what happens in the afterlife. What did she say? Did you ask her that question?
How she died?
Yeah, or what happened after she died.
No, I just glossed over it. I just said, what do you have for lunch?
Well, what does a dead person eat for lunch?
Chicken sandwich.
Chicken sandwich?
Yeah, I thought she'd be vegetarian.
Why?
I don't know. I thought you clean up your act in the afterlife. No? And also, generally you cut down on, carbs.
In the afterlife?
I would have thought so.
But then, maybe in the afterlife, the gym membership is a lot cheaper.
Why?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot. There's more people. The gym membership is probably more expensive.
Yeah, but there's probably more space.
But if you're just a soul, do you need to eat?
Yeah, that's true. It's like Casper and the Friendly Ghost. Remember when they just eat the...
Yeah.
falls through them, right?
It's been a while since I've seen that, actually.
But I feel like that's what I've, achieved through IBS.
Everything's just going through you.
Yeah. It's
But then maybe you've already existed
the doctors call it IBS. I call it enlightenment. This is what the thing. It's just a complete, efficient movement of and metabolism of food source, right?
Yeah, so you're at one with the food, right?
Yeah.
You're at one with nature because it's especially if you...
Just flowing through me.
Especially if you pick the food from the forest yourself.
Yeah, which I do.
Maybe not in Knightsbridge, but maybe if we move to the countryside, maybe.
Maybe we'd pick. That sounds also like a lot of management.
It's too much effort. But I feel like we haven't actually discussed the afterlife.
Yeah, we haven't. We haven't talked about anything. This podcast is complete nonsense.
It's been 18 minutes of... No, I think we've touched on a couple of things. Nothing to do with the actual afterlife.
But okay, so what is the actual afterlife? What are we talking about?
I actually have no idea. Do you have any idea?
Well, okay, so my idea is basically, I think it makes sense. I kind of consider...
Wait, why does it make sense? Why does it make sense?
Wait, I'll tell you. So, it obviously doesn't make sense, but this is the thing. If we're trying at some loose, abstract way to kind of touch a bit of sense, the only way in which I can get to it is to sort of say that if we take metaphysics as an abstraction of or these kind of metaphysical ideas as an abstraction of physical and natural mechanisms that we see playing out in everyday life, the way I see it is that everything that happens in the physical world, in ecology, is cyclical. Everything moves into each other. So if we take, we pee on the soil, it goes into the soil, the soil feeds the plants grow, the seeds move, it pollinates, we eat the things, cow shit everywhere, everything's cyclical, and it all moves and transfers. So if we're taking that as that to be the sort of physical laws of this world, if we abstract that same cyclicality or that same energetic movement into a metaphysical realm, then it only makes sense that the spirit is also recycled. And so that creates the idea for me that that death is not the end, that it gives birth to something else.
But does that suggest, if you use that theory, does that suggest an eternal loop where your spirit recycles itself and you live the same life?
No. It doesn't mean it's an eternal... It doesn't mean that you live the same life. You just morph into something else. But you're saying then it will always be like...
Yeah, it will be cyclical, right? So you would go back into your past life and then into this life and then into your before life rather, and then this life and then the afterlife.
If we take the ideas in nature, it's cyclical not in the sense that it actually returns to what it was. Like everything is always in a state of like movement and evolution.
Yeah, that's true. And it never... It's very fluid, right?
Yeah, it's just that nothing dies. It's just that it morphs into something else. And even though,
so what is that?
The energy, this particle of a plant would return to a plant, it would return to a different plant.
Yeah, that's true. So what would you morph into?
I don't know exactly. And it could just be energy, or it could just be this moving energy. But the idea is that it doesn't die. And I think if we die now, then our physical form will degrade. But
am I my physical form? Or am I that energy?
Yeah, so I'm saying, okay, I guess we have to talk about like if there's a soul.
But why is it just limited?
Because your physical energy will...
Yeah, but why is it limited to a soul? Can't it be a soul plus something else?
Plus, what do you mean?
Like
the mind? Or?
Yeah, maybe soul plus the mind, or maybe...
So I think, a lot of these ideas is the fact that we associate ourselves so much with like a personality and an identity, and the idea that is...
Whereas you're saying potentially at our core, we're just our soul, right? We're just this energy. Yeah, well, we are not nothingness though, right? We are an energy.
Yeah, I think we're an energy. But do
you think you and I have different energies?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So my soul
But we're part of the same omnipresent, eternal energy, right? We're bound to each other, but there's still a difference. Even if you just take your shirt, this part of the shirt is different from this part of the shirt, even though it's the same shirt.
No, it's quite a good analogy, but also it's nonsense. Like, if all we are is nothingness, and that's going to morph into something else, like in the same way that particle of the plant will morph into something else, maybe we are all the same. Yeah, and there is no difference in our nothingness. Yeah,
but you can be all the same, but different. But there can still be a sort of texture and a diversity to the sameness, right? You take a large infinite sheet of cloth.
But if we're nothingness, how do we get that texture? Like, nothingness
is a poetic idea, not like a complete. For me, it's not a complete emptiness. It's just like a.
Do our actions affect that texture?
Do our actions affect that texture?
Because I think your concept suggests that our actions don't affect that texture.
No, so I think they can. I think there's a interrelational effect between mind, body, and spirit, for sure.
Mind, body, and spirit. Okay, and which one has the biggest effect on it?
Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't. I don't know if it's about a quantity, but they're all like they work in synergy with each other, and sort of. Yeah. You know this from a bit like when you feel good.
Yeah, like everything is flowing, right?
Yeah.
And you're very responsive to other things as well when everything is flowing. But, so you believe that we morph but then you do believe in the notion of the afterlife?
Yeah, I think so.
But not out of necessity, out of just like pure rationality rather than necessity.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of sort of visceral experience that I've had in terms of like spiritual experiences that I've had, and then also a kind of rational abstraction of ecology. For me, if I have any question, you ask me any question about truth or anything, I always go to nature or to ecology and see like what are the processes in ecology and like
I do like the duplicity in your work. You do have a theory and you do stick to it.
Do we? Oh yeah.
Well, I think you do.
Until it becomes bullshit in my head. Like, I do understand that, like, most of these are grounded in this complete, like, but that's why I love philosophy. That's why we love this, is because nobody can tell us we're wrong.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this podcast.
Yeah. Because also we don't need an education to do this. Like,
we don't have an education.
No, of course not.
No.
Like, that would be a waste of time.
Exactly. Exactly.
But like, if you're a doctor or something and you're studying, I don't know what, like neonatal neurology, then then you can't be, you can't just say, well, like whatever, that's a brain and that's not. I'm just guessing. You have to know. And stuff. Whereas
it's
philosophy,
boring,
you can just
right?
throw your dick at anything.
This is what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah, but and that's why it's so amazing, because you can just kind of like explore the world. And, like, you can never really know, but you can really never really know. And that's why it's so unsettling for so many people, because you can't subscribe to anything with true knowledge.
But then what's the point of listening to our podcast?
Because, like, in that infinite, like, curiosity, like that sort of, that space of unknowing is this infinite, like, central curiosity.
Yeah, but it's also, you're going into this podcast knowing that these two won't answer the question.
Yeah. But isn't that, in a sense, more gratifying, or like more like, it feels kind of, it's more tranquil when you accept that there is no answer, you're never going to get the answer, and you can just enjoy, like, the taste of the water. Right? Yeah, but
whereas,
like, when you listen to those TED Talks or whatever, and they're like,
those TED Talks
we're going to tell you how to live, and then at the end of it, they're like, eat more pot noodles.
But maybe we should have listened to a TED Talk on how to make a podcast. That maybe would have been beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, people are going to be disappointed.
No, but it'd be very plebeian of us to try and make everyone happy. That's
anyone happy.
Oh, anyone. Yeah. The main thing is that we're happy, right?
Yeah.
And that's how people should live their lives.
Should they?
Yeah, for sure. Isn't that what love is?
Yeah, isn't this what we said about love and dissolving the ego?
Yeah, but love is being happy.
No, love is doing a podcast that contradicts everything we said in the past podcast.
And everything we'll say in the future podcast.
And everything in the future podcast. But I think genuinely that is, to some degree, love. Because what it is accepting the total transience of ourselves. And like, love is when we access, when we fall in love is when we access that infinite energy around us. And the main quality of the infinite energy, the God, is its impermanence, its constant state of movement. So if we're in a constant contradiction of ourselves and of our thoughts and of the things that we do, then we are actually bound to the infinite transience that surrounds us, and hence we are fallen into the eternal space of love.
So for that to make any sense, we need to finish the love podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is coming to you next time.
In
a life before or in a life after?
Maybe in the middle.
Or maybe in the middle.
Yeah. I like the rant that you just went on there. That's where we should end it.
Yeah, complete nonsense. Let's go wash up the dishes.
Yeah.
Because if that isn't love, very liquid.
Very liquid and washing up is the love. Yeah,
that's the way for it.
No, love is happiness. I'm very adamant in that.
Love is happiness.
Love is happiness. You're overthinking it. With your space and your symmetry and your balance, that's not love. Love is happiness.
What about love is mini golf?